Embrace what you can control. Modern life is full of upheavals, surprises, and challenges that can easily lead to anxiety and uncertainty. In the midst of this chaos, there is a simple yet profound principle that can help you find inner peace. Focus only on what you can control. It sounds easy, but actually living by this principle takes practice and awareness. So what is really within your control? Your thoughts, actions, intentions, and reactions. You can't control the weather, you can't make other people change against their will, and you can't predict every event in your life. But you can choose how you see things. You can choose to act kindly, choose to keep your intentions pure, and choose to respond calmly instead of angrily. When you are aware of your control, you no longer feel like a victim of your circumstances. Instead, you become the master of your own life. For example, when someone says something that offends you, you can't control them, but you can choose not to get hurt, not to react impulsively, and to stay calm. It's in the moment when you choose how to react that you exercise your power. However, accepting that there are things that are beyond your control is equally important. This is a form of healthy letting go, not giving up, but letting go of the expectation that you can control everything. You can't control the economy, the weather, or other people's emotions. And when you accept that, you feel lighter, less stressed, and can focus your energy on what really matters. Instead of worrying about what hasn't happened, ask yourself, what can I do right now to make this situation better? Instead of reacting out of habit, ask yourself, does this response reflect who I want to be? Questions like these will bring you back to your center, where you truly have choice and control. Be mindful. Be the guardian of your mind and heart. Because in this ever-changing world, true peace can only come from within, where you are the master of your own thoughts, actions, and reactions. Practicing mindfulness, living fully in the present. In the hustle and bustle of life, modern people are often caught up in the whirlwind of the past and the future. One minute we regret things that cannot be changed, the next we worry about things that have not happened yet. We forget that life is really happening right now, in the present moment. And that is why practicing mindfulness has become a deeper and more necessary art of living than ever. Mindfulness is not a distant or complicated concept. Simply, it is the ability to immerse yourself completely in the present, clearly aware of what is happening both outside and inside, without judging or evaluating. When you drink a cup of tea, you really feel the taste of the tea. When you listen to a friend share, you really listen without thinking about how to respond or worrying about tomorrow's work. Practicing mindfulness is an invitation to return to yourself, to the beat of your heart, to the breath that comes in and out, to the feeling of your feet touching the ground. In that moment, you are no longer a victim of wandering thoughts, not tied to what has passed or what has not yet come. You return to your most natural and conscious state. You are alive. The important thing in practicing mindfulness is to learn to detach from regrets about the past and worries about the future. We often think that if we think enough about past mistakes, we can change something. But the truth is that the past is gone, and the only thing we can do is learn from it and let it go. Similarly, worrying about the future does not make it more certain, it only takes away the peace of the present. Mindfulness is not just meditating in silence. It is also being present in every action of daily life. When you wash the dishes, you feel the cool water on your hands. When you walk, you feel every step. When you talk to someone, you are truly present. Life, miraculously, becomes deeper and more meaningful when you are truly present. Mindfully interacting with your current situation also helps you respond more wisely. Instead of reacting to your emotions, you have the time to pause and choose the right response. Mindfulness does not mean being indifferent, but being proactive, gentle, and conscious in every action, word, and thought. Start with the smallest things: a deep breath, a slow smile, an unhurried look. Because every moment you are truly mindful is a step closer to inner freedom and lasting happiness. Cultivating resilience, turning adversity into growth opportunities. Life is not always smooth. There will be times when you stumble, face pain, failure, or loss. But what makes the difference is not what happens to you, but how you respond and overcome it. This is the core of resilience, a vital quality that helps people grow and become stronger through each challenge. Resilience does not mean that you are not affected by grief or hardship. On the contrary, it is accepting negative emotions but not letting them control your life. It is facing adversity with courage, with determination, and with the belief that, I can learn something from this situation. Try changing your perspective. Instead of seeing adversity as a source of suffering, see it as a stern teacher, teaching you lessons in patience, courage, letting go, and adaptability. Major life events are often opportunities for you to look back at yourself, to understand your values, to realize the inner strength that you have never discovered before. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? try asking, what can I learn from this? This question takes you out of the role of a victim and into the role of a learner, an adult. When you change your perspective, every challenge can become material to strengthen your character and expand your vision of life. However, it is important to focus on your own judgments and reactions to adversity. Not everyone who encounters difficulties grows. The difference lies in how they interpret the situation and how they behave. A resilient person will not let pain turn them into a cynical person, but will use pain to nurture compassion and understanding. Cultivating resilience is a process, not something that happens overnight. You can start by practicing gratitude, resetting your mindset, building healthy relationships, and especially learning to accept what you cannot change. Every time you overcome a challenge, no matter how small, you become stronger and more resilient. Life does not promise to be easy, but it always gives you the opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become a better version of yourself. Trust that you have the power to bounce back after every storm. Nurture your resilience. It is the compass that guides you through the storm with peace and confidence. Choosing your response, the greatest human freedom. There are many things that happen in life that we cannot control. The words of others, changes in the environment, unexpected upheavals, even emotions that arise naturally. But among the uncontrollable factors, there is one thing that is always in your hands: how you respond. This is not just a choice, but also the clearest expression of character, intelligence, and morality. Stoicism, a classical school of philosophy, emphasizes that it is not the event that makes people suffer, but the way they perceive and react to it. You cannot stop others from criticizing you, but you can choose not to be hurt. You cannot control the situation, but you can absolutely adjust your inner self to face it firmly. The key lies in mindfulness and awareness of the power of choice. When you are faced with a difficult situation, you can choose to respond with anger, blame, or complaint. But you can also stop, take a deep breath, and respond with calmness, tolerance, and reason. That is when you are living out the Stoic virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. For example, if someone insults you, instead of immediately responding, you can ask yourself, does that person's words reflect the truth, or is it just their feelings? You can choose to respond with understanding, not defensiveness. When you do this, you not only protect your inner peace, but you also send positive energy to others. Choosing the right response is not about suppressing your emotions, but about mastering them. You are not denying your anger, sadness, or disappointment. You are just not letting them control your words and actions. This is inner strength, a strength that is not flashy but extremely sustainable. The ability to adjust your response is also how you build character every day. Every choice you make, no matter how small, contributes to shaping the person you become. You can choose to be vulnerable, easily swayed by circumstances. Or you can choose to be calm, thoughtful, and true to your core values. The world outside is always changing. But you can be a lighthouse, always steady in every storm, if you know how to master your response. Remember, the greatest freedom you have is to choose how you react. And from there, you create your life, from the inside out. Curbing excessive desire, finding contentment in moderation. We live in a world that is constantly promoting more. More money, bigger houses, higher status, more fame. Modern society constantly instills in us the idea that happiness will only come when we have enough. But that enough is always moving, never achieved. And that is the trap of excessive desire. Stoic philosophy teaches that to live a peaceful and meaningful life, people need to learn to restrain their desires beyond what is truly necessary for a virtuous life. This does not mean that you have to give up material things or live in poverty, but rather that you understand what is enough, what is too much, and what is a burden. When you chase after wealth and fame without knowing when to stop, you are losing your inner freedom. Desire is not wrong, but excessive desire leads to suffering. You may want a comfortable life, but if you think that only a fancy car or a high position will make you happy, happiness will always elude you. Because there will always be someone richer, more talented, more famous than you. That endless comparison is the source of dissatisfaction. What is valuable is the ability to find contentment in moderation. When you learn to appreciate the simple things, a warm meal, a good night's sleep, a sincere conversation, you realize that true happiness lies not in external flashy things, but in an inner state of peace and contentment. Controlling your desires also helps you live in accordance with the Stoic virtues of moderation, humility, and self-control. A person can be rich, but if they are not dependent on wealth, not letting material things control their decisions, they are still free. On the other hand, a person who always craves more, regardless of morality or personal values, even if they own the whole world, is still a person who is bound. Try asking yourself, Is what I am pursuing really necessary for a meaningful life? If the answer is no, you have the opportunity to let go of the unnecessary and return to the core. Life becomes lighter, simpler, but deeper and more complete. Contentment does not come from having everything, but from knowing that you do not need everything. Moderation does not deprive you, but is the key to unlocking inner freedom and lasting joy. And in a world that always encourages more is better, the ability to live in moderation is a rare form of strength. Understanding the impermanent nature of life. Letting go of attachment, cherishing the present. Life is a constant flow. Everything appears, changes, and then leaves. Happiness comes and goes. So does suffering. Nothing in this life is permanent. That is the impermanent nature that each of us needs to understand and accept. However, humans often tend to cling. When we are happy, we hope it will last forever. When we have someone we love, we fear losing them. Conversely, when we fall into adversity, we despair as if the pain will last forever. All the deep suffering in life largely stems from our failure to accept the impermanent nature of everything. Stoic philosophy, like many other wisdom traditions, emphasizes that everything in life changes, from emotions, possessions, relationships to this very body. That doesn't mean we live indifferently, giving up, but living with understanding, awareness, and appreciating each moment, but not clinging to it. Imagine you are looking at a flower. You know that the flower will fade, but that very impermanence makes you appreciate its beauty more. Likewise, it is impermanence that makes life valuable, that makes you need to live more deeply with what you have, because you know they will not last forever. Understanding impermanence also helps you overcome adversity more gently. When you are in sadness, instead of thinking, "I will always be like this," you can remind yourself, "This feeling will pass." That simple sentence is a miraculous healing medicine, helping you stay calm and steady in the face of all storms. At the same time, when you understand that all good things will change, you will appreciate the present more, live more kindly, and love more deeply. You don't delay saying thank you, you don't hesitate to hug your loved ones, you don't hesitate to express gratitude, because you know that moment is a precious gift that life has given you. Impermanence is not something to be feared, but a truth that helps you live more truly. When you stop clinging to the idea of permanence, you open yourself to the natural flow of life. You will feel lighter, freer, and closer to peace than ever before. Life is always moving. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you will enter a state of conscious living, where you don't resist the flow of life, but instead flow with it with understanding and love. Never stop learning and growing, a lifelong journey of self-improvement. Life is not a straight line with a clear beginning and end. It is more like a continuous journey, where every day is an opportunity for us to learn, grow, and become a better version of ourselves. Self-improvement is not a destination, but a way of life. The ancient Stoic philosophy once emphasized that a life of dignity is a life of constant striving towards wisdom and virtue. That does not mean you have to be perfect, because no one can be, but always keep in your heart a desire to live consciously, deeply, and take responsibility for your own development. Life always poses challenges. Difficulties, injuries, failures will not spare anyone. But instead of seeing them as enemies, you can choose to see those challenges as tests and opportunities to learn something new about yourself, about life, and about being a human being. And to overcome them gracefully, you need wisdom and virtue, two elements that are not given, but the result of continuous practice. You can cultivate wisdom through reading, contemplation, and observing life mindfully. You can cultivate virtue through daily acts of kindness by controlling your emotions, knowing how to listen, knowing how to be humble, and knowing how to admit your mistakes. The journey of self-development does not require you to change everything overnight. Sometimes it is just small steps. Waking up 10 minutes earlier to meditate, asking yourself every night, "Did I behave in accordance with my values today?" Or trying to do something well even though no one is watching. The great thing is, you don't have to be bad to grow. Even if you're already good, you can still become deeper, more peaceful, and more understanding. Self-improvement doesn't come from guilt, it comes from love for yourself and the world. It's an act of conscious living, not just to achieve something but to live each moment with awareness. No one can learn for you. No one can grow for you. But if you start today, committing to a lifelong journey of personal growth, you will find yourself growing stronger in the face of adversity, growing more flexible in your approach, and growing closer to who you truly want to be. Learning and growing is a gift you can give yourself every day. And that journey, while not easy, is what makes life meaningful.